Hello, everybody. I'm Geeta Nadkarni from Impact with Influence. And what we do is we help people who are experts in their field, coaches, consultants, service providers who are brilliant at what they do, create an online, fully leveraged and scalable business that allows them to spend most of their time, like we're talking 80% of their time actually doing the work they love instead of marketing their buns off. And today I want to introduce you to one of our clients who is actually not even all the way done with our program, right? She's right in the smack in the middle of it. And she has a story to tell. And this is like my I told you so video, haha, which I warn everybody about before they sign up. So I would love to introduce you to Jamila Souffran, who is the creator of Journey to Launch. That is the name of her program. There's also a podcast that you can go out there on iTunes or however, Spotify, wherever it is you listen to podcasts, and download this. She has more than 60,000 monthly subscribers as of this recording, and that number keeps going up. And it is the most brilliant podcast about helping people make the most of their money, the money that they have already, to create the wealth that they need to achieve financial freedom. Welcome, Jamila.
Hi, thank you for
Hi.
having me.
Oh my gosh. So tell me a little bit more about what it is you help people do and who comes to you typically and what are they struggling with and what do they want?
Yeah, so typically I actually feel like, so if you follow anything that I do, and if you're listening to this now, like I consider you a journeyer. So that means you're on the journey with me to reach financial freedom, which means you want more options in your life. You want to live a life of true wealth. And that's not necessarily like the physical things that come with that, but it's really the matter of choosing what you do. And so I help people through my platform figure out a way to create a plan to do that in order to live their best lives.
And it's fantastic. So let's talk about where you were at when you first heard about me and heard about Impact with Influence. Because this is a
Yes.
hilarious story.
Well, so I have a friend in real life. So she's actually like my real life, like best friend. Like we've known each other for years. Our kids were born in the same year and they're best friends. Our husbands are best friends. And so we're also like business best friends too, right? She has a business. And she kind of mentioned she was in your program. And, I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I think she told me about it again and was telling me how amazing it was. And I was like, okay, that's okay. I was like, send me the video, like send me the stuff. And I had an idea that it was like a high ticket. It allowed you to create like a high ticket but valuable offer for your people. And I was like, that sounds good, but I don't know if that can apply to me in my space in personal finance. But I was like, send me the video anyway. I'll watch it. And so she sent me the video of you talking. I forgot which one. And it was one of the videos where you were just explaining and you were like talking to me. You were like saying everything that basically like up until that point I was doing, which was building a platform. I have and had, lower priced or ticketed things that people can interact with me above and beyond just the podcast. And so I said, you know what? You had an option to like have a call with you. And I was like, I shouldn't really do this because I'm not going into her program because this is not going to work with me. But I'm going to book a call because, let's just see. Right. And so I remember I I booked a call with you and literally like up until the moment before you called, I was even thinking about canceling it, honestly. Because I thought, you know what, like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm sure this is going to be a lot of money up front for me to invest that I felt like I didn't have at the moment. And I said, but you know what? What's it going to hurt? Let me just do it. But literally up until the moment we spoke, I was like, I'm not, whatever she says, you're not going to buy it. You're not going to invest. You can't do it. That was like my thought process up until we spoke.
And it's so funny. And I love that you're sharing this. Thank you so much for sharing it, Jamila, because first of all, everybody who's listening, if this is what's going through your body as you're potentially signing up to speak with someone on my team or whatever, just know that you need to move through these pieces because you're going to attract people who have the exact same reaction to your offer. And there's that whole round robin full circle thing that happens, and that's why we help you break those internal patterns. And the epiphany session itself is designed to do that. And what was kind of interesting is, first of all, you're living proof that our messaging works because I saw you. I was you. That's why we get to play together, is because I was you. I found my way through that woods and I'm on the other side and I'm like, okay, I've blazed a trail. now I can take you on this journey, which is so fun. And, we really connected over this notion of the journey, the process. Um, and I think that really the big struggle that you had is you're so brilliant at what you do. You care so much. And I think that was actually your level of caring was almost the deterrent that
Yeah.
you had to actually fully serving your audience. And that was a huge reframe that happened on that call. It was like, because you cared so much, you were like, I can't charge them what I know this is really worth. And then that was creating feelings that you had, like resentment, right? Frustration. You're just like, God, why is it so hard? Like, this is stupidly underpriced. It's ridiculous almost. And what I find is typically when people do that, it's because there's a whole bunch of internal stuff going on, which is exactly what we addressed on the call and then moving forward. But also what ends up happening is that your ideal clients, the ones who really want your help, the ones who want all your help and not just like a sliver of your help, they can't get you. They won't even buy the small thing because they're like, I know that's not going to work for me. I need something more, but you weren't offering them something more.
Yeah. That's exactly where I was. And honestly, and I'm still working through it, but I've come definitely a long way since I started the program, because again, it was me not giving my full self or being unable to, because I just was limited by resources, right? And then the feeling of feeling almost a little bit like resentful in a way, because, and not necessarily, it wasn't anyone's fault. And that's the thing, that I think most of the resentment, it wasn't to other people, it was to myself. It's almost like this internal thing, because here I am teaching people how to, reach their goals, their wildest dreams and financial goals, saving money, quitting their job, like finding financial freedom or doing whatever they want. And I felt like I wasn't giving myself the same permission, and so it did feel like I was out of alignment when I wasn't able to serve fully and show up fully in the way that I wanted to.
And that's a huge part of how we choose the clients that we know we're going to accelerate the most. Like, we don't work with anybody for whom this is not true. We always look for, where is that piece where you're wanting to get a double dose of your own medicine, where we basically get to out Jamila you. Like, I would be Jamila to you, so that you can kind of receive that exact same help, receive that exact same permission, understand now from the inside what that process looks and feels and is what that map needs to look like. That's when you can go and deliver it. And that makes you a completely different level of coach now, because you've done it yourself, you've received it yourself, your toolkit has expanded. So tell us a little bit about, okay, so let me rewind to, you get on this call, you have every objection under the sun. You're so mad. Do you remember that? Did you feel that? You're like, damn it. Like, you kind of wanted it and you were mad that you wanted it. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of that. There was like, can I really buy this? This is stupid. Like, I think you even told me, and you're like, this is stupid. Let me guess. You're going to tell me that you're going to help me create an offer. Remember that? And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to tell you.
Well, I definitely remember thinking like, there's no way. Even up until I paid, like I still was having resistance. I was like, well, I'll do it, but I won't have an offer at the level she thinks I should, because that's not going to work. So even I was still like contesting the whole way through. But, I quickly realized, and I think this is why it is so important for me, because again, like, I do truly care. And I think that's like who you work with and who you are, and why I felt kind of a connection is because like I care so much, but I knew that my own limitations and my own blocks, like unless I got over them, there's no way like I'd be able to help my journeyers, the people in my community, do the same. And so that really helped me. But yeah, and initially I was just like, there's no way, I can't really like afford this. I mean, I don't even think you told me the price at the time, but I had an idea because, my friend told me what she did. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that. Right. And I don't have the time. And again, I have 3 small kids. I feel like I'm in the startup phase of my business. It's really just, it's been around for a while, but we're still growing and it's a lot of work. So I was like, I don't have the time to also like commit to like this new thing. I have enough on my plate, but, we continue to talk. And then I realized like, I don't want to stay like in a year. I don't want to be where I am or feel these feelings of resentfulness to myself, to people who don't even like deserve it, because I'm not even giving them an offer. Like,
you're not giving them an option.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't, and I hate when people do this to me just in real life. Like when, someone's mad at you, but like, they don't tell you why they're mad, and like they never even gave you an option not to be mad. It's just like I'm like, why would I do that to myself and to other people? Like, I need this. I need to change something.
Totally get it. And it's too funny because do you remember? Okay, so I'm such a dick about this, I have to say. Like, I love saying I told you so, because my entire job in life is to help people blaze through those exact same, no way, not gonna happen, not doing it, la 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 la, like it's not possible for me. And I'm like, let's see about that. And then
Yeah.
when we bust you through, I get to say I told you so because you have won. And so it's always aligned with, you got exactly what deep down you wanted but refused to give yourself permission to have. So on that call, I remember telling you, be like, we'll start with this other price if that's what you want to do, but I'm going to guarantee that number is going to go up, because when you understand what you really do for people and you start showing up and doing all of it, you're not going to be able to charge less than this. Do you remember me telling you that?
Yes, you did.
I told you so. So
You
tell
did.
me what happened.
Well, so I did. And the interesting thing is, even though I said this is how compelled I was, and I knew I needed something different, because I actually ended up paying more than I thought I would, which was fine. Like at the moment, I'm just like, what is happening? I tell this story now to people because, again, it's so beneficial now when I'm also
Doing
going
your
through
own
my own
calls.
program, because I know what it feels like for people that are on the phone with me. And there does take a level of like, you have to be ready, like, you know, like to be ready to invest this level of time and energy into making the change. But so I did it. I was like, screw it. Like, again, this is me. Like, what do I have to lose? Like we're just going to do this. And so I ended up signing on and doing the program. And because I am one of those people who, if I go in, I go all in, like I just hit the ground running. I was like,
Which
I'm
I
not going to
love.
waste any time. I just invested all this money. We are going to do this. So even though I was still resisting like the price points and some things, I was like, you know what, but I did it. So I might as well go through with it and like at least give it a try. So that's what I did.
And I love that. And those are the best clients. Case in point. That's why we're recording this video. So one of the things that we started with, and I remember telling you, it's like, you're going to need this mindset piece, and working with David and working with, you know, our mindset coaching team. So to be able to dig into, because you didn't have a skill issue, you already had all the skills, and many you didn't even necessarily need. You didn't have a knowledge issue, you had a permission issue. Like, you were basically trying to drive this beautiful high-speed car, but you had like the handbrake on and you put your feet on the brakes at the same time. And I'm like, we gotta just like take your feet off the brake and put that handbrake down. What was that process like? Was that difficult for you?
Yeah, I mean, it still is difficult. And even I knew, right? So I bought other programs at like lower price points, where at the time when I bought those programs, I'm like, wow, this is a lot of money, you know? And they gave a lot of strategy. It's almost like I have enough strategy. Like I almost too much strategy. Like I know all the possibilities and what to do. But I always knew that for me, the biggest things holding me back was messaging. So making sure my messaging was clear, because people love the platform, they love the podcast, they love me, right? And so figuring out how to distill that in words to, you know, to let other people who are looking for something like this know that this is for them. So the messaging was key for me to get like down packed, and the mindset. Like I knew that those two M's, messaging and mindset, were the biggest things that I was missing. And so, which is why I feel like with you, I knew that that's what you focused on. Like there's a strategy, which was like by itself is valuable, but the biggest reasons, or the what really stood out for me, was the mindset and messaging. So yes, having David and kind of like working through the mindset part is the biggest thing. Because like I said, the strategy, it's like I have like tons of like things that I can like look through about strategy, but the mindset piece for me is what was the biggest missing link.
Exactly. And if you look at our program, the strategy is very stripped down. Like, it does not get simpler than what we teach, because we've noticed that if you can keep the strategy really simple, just enough to trigger the internal blocks, this is literally how we don't tell you this coming in, but the way that we've mapped out our program is we give you the business building blocks. We show you how to design your offer. We show you how to lay out your program, because it's important that you feel deep confidence in what it is you're delivering, obviously. We show you how to coach with power. We show you how to, you know, sell from a place of deep integrity and alignment. When we show you, and then eventually we'll tell you, okay, here's how you get your message out to the media. You've got a complete media list and all of that jazz. But a huge part of the messaging is really about, can we release the fear that you have? Can we release the judgment, the self-judgment and the self-blame that you have? Because if you can give yourself permission to fully be who you are, that's what your messaging needs to reflect. Because messaging has two components to it. One are the words, the way that you articulate how you say what you do. But you can't get to that piece if deep down the brakes are on what it is you actually do. If you're not willing to give yourself permission to go all in on serving, then the front end, like words that describe that is still limited. So the words are going to be limited too. And that's why we kind of do those two pieces together. So I like to say, it kind of sounds weird to somebody who doesn't get it. We practice messaging almost as a spiritual practice. And then everything else in our program, as you build out each piece of your business now online, the strategy is designed to give you like the pieces that you need and also to trigger whatever the internal block is, so that while you have full team support and you have mindset coaching and you have all of those pieces, that everything that's coming up for you as you go to your sales calls, as you put out your webinar, as you do those different pieces, all the, oh my God, this is what historically has held you back. We're going to surface it, help you feel it, let it go, reprogram it, and then poof, you're off to the races. And what I love what you bring, Jamila, and what, a lot of our clients, the specifics of how they put themselves out there. Like you have a podcast, for example, right? Not everybody has a podcast. Most of our clients don't have a podcast. It's not something we require you to have. But everything that we give you gives you clarity on how to use the pieces you do have to the fullest advantage. And you see the beautiful alignment is just as you help your people take the money they do have to the fullest advantage to then build the wealth. It's the same thing. And that's that alignment that we're always looking for.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you feel like going through, like being on the receiving end of our coaching process? Because we're quite different in the way that we coach. We're not just like ask you questions and then kind of like hold space and like let you wander around, not hoping it will surface kind of thing. No, we're relatively directive in the way that we coach, and we pull things out, and then we listen for like, okay, what's the pattern behind the question, and then kind of go from there. Do you feel like it's changed your own coaching style?
I definitely do. I feel like a lot of it is going to be not necessarily, it's like the transformation, the internal transformation is what you're looking for. Because again, a lot of people have the strategy, especially when it comes to money, right? Like you can Google a lot of stuff, right? Like that stuff is simple. It's not like, and it's not like people know what to do. And so the reason is why they're not doing it, or they know they want to earn more, but why are you afraid to take the risk necessary to earn more? And what does that risk look like? How can you kind of navigate those risks wisely? But it does take risk. It takes guts. And so all that, I think like that process of the internal stuff to help with the outcomes of what everyone wants is what I feel like shifted for me. And it's really like, again, it's like the action is important, but it's really like you always say, it's a space in which you take the action, which is important. It's something that I'm still working through. And that's what the crazy thing is, that like, I feel like I have probably scratched, honestly, the surface of your program. Like I think I'm like I'm in mid program.
I'm not mid-program. Even like you're not even done yet. You're like halfway through. Have you made up the investment?
Yes, I have.
How many times the investment have you made up? Roughly.
So it's definitely almost double. So it's almost double of what I invested to be in the program, like I have now. Because I started. So what I did, because this is just how I do, I started my program like within like week 3. I think I started my sales calls and really understanding like everyone that I was talking to. And so that allowed me to really hit the ground running. And so now I'm in the middle of my own program, which has been amazing. And so with that, it's allowed me to really actually learn while I'm doing it. So it's been really exciting.
Yeah. So you basically made the money before you rolled out your program, and now you continue to make money as you're building the program. So it's just to also clarify for listeners that you don't have to have your program built out before you start making the cash on it. That's actually one of the things that I'm really passionate about, is you need to have proof of concept. so many of our clients come to us hurting because they have built these massive, complicated, expensive, giant beasts of programs that nobody is buying. And then when they go through our process, they're like, oh man, now I have to like redo it. I have to like strip it down and distill it. Because think about it, right? If you were hurting, if you were in pain, if you're in physical pain, do you want to take something or a program or some process that gets you out of pain 12 months from now? Or would you rather pay extra and get out of pain 8 weeks from now, right? It's the same thing. So what we help you do is build your program for speed of delivery, speed of building, speed of intention. And then for your clients, it's speed of implementation so they get their results faster, which builds their trust, makes them more coachable, rinse, repeat, everybody's winning.
Yeah.
And that's where you're at. And I love your attitude because you're such a like, wow, I'm going for it. And so you kind of like, you're like fire hose here, right? Because you're receiving our program, you're delivering your program. It's like everything is happening all at the same time, but it is working.
It is.
And you
that
told,
I can say,
right?
Yeah.
4 weeks ago, you were like, there's no fucking way. That is a direct quote, F word and all, from our phone call.
Like, no, like I was just like, no, there's no way I can do this. And even like, there's no way. And so as I'm doing it, I'm like, wow. And then of course, so there's different, like always levels, which we talk about, that the fear never goes away. Then it's like, oh, can I do this again? And can this be sustainable? But I think honestly, like the confidence like that I received from just going after it, and giving myself the permission by investing in myself at this level is what I want my people, my audience, the people who work with me to feel. And I don't think I'd been able to deliver that message. And I'm like, now I'm figuring out how can I deliver that more through the podcast, through just like this mere fact of like trusting and investing in yourself, why it's so important. Because it's like, that's the gap. That's where so many people get stuck, is that they're scared, right? Like how I was, afraid of failing, afraid of it not working, but like literally, like really, it's like that trust is what they need to move forward.
100%. It's permission. Because agreed, it's like everything that you did, right? You bought piecemeal solutions. You bought itty bitty little pieces instead of the whole nine. The whole nine, yes, it was a scary investment. It was a scary commitment because it's like, oh my God, this has everything I need. But it's like, it's a big financial commitment. It's not a huge time commitment in the larger scheme of things. 8 weeks is not actually, it's actually a very distilled period of time, but it also makes things very real. So where you had that comfort of, yeah, I'll do this piece and then I'll kind of move forward here and then I'll do that piece. Now it's like, this is like, you're going to get there. Here's the timeline. Here's the deal. Here's how this is going to work. Here are the different pieces of it. And that can kind of make things real in a very powerful way for people. And that's what you're doing now. And what I think is really gorgeous about this whole process is that, Jamila, this isn't about fancy messaging tactics. This is about the fact that you gave yourself permission to grow into the person that does this. You have lived this journey. You own it now at a soul level. So really, this is about you just being who you are. You are this person. Now you can talk about the different facets of it. You don't need to be scripted. You don't need to control your message nearly as much as people do when they're just following strategy and it's all about tactics and you have to say this because this is a trigger word and this is a trigger, like price it at this point because 0.99 is converts better than, who gives a shit, honestly. You don't need to play from that place when you play from this place of deep clarity, where you're just like, this is who I needed to be. This is what my journey was like. And then the people that are your people, the little hairs will stand on the back of their necks and they'll be like, she's exactly what happened to you when you listen to my message is going to be exactly what happens to them when they listen to your message. And that alignment is exactly what our program is designed to create. So I love that you're drinking your own Kool-Aid, basically.
Basically, yeah.
And nobody grows faster than the person who drinks their own Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most nourishing thing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So if you were to give sort of a piece of advice to somebody who's watching this video, who's kind of on the fence or was in that place where you were at when you heard about us and you were like, oh, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? Do I get on a call? What do I do? What would you say?
So I'd say that I'm not even going to say open mind because like I didn't like necessarily have an open mind when I spoke to you. But I'll say this, that if you're ready to have and be something different, if what you've been doing is not working or falling short, and by maybe by other people's standards, because that's for me, when people look at my brand and what I'm doing, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing and it is great, but I know there's so much more for me to accomplish, and I knew that there was a lot holding me back. So if you also feel that you're in a space where you know there's a lot more for you to do and achieve, and you're afraid. So my biggest fear was, what would charging a lot of money mean? Like, would that make me be a bad person? Would people not like me? There was all this fear. So if that's your fear, like around what other people think or this bad kind of person thing, I think that that right there shows you like why it's maybe the change is necessary. So for me, that's why I knew the change was necessary, because I know what my intentions are, and I knew I wasn't giving my fullest in other areas because I couldn't, resource wise. And so I think if you're stuck in this place where you want more, but you're afraid of you're more afraid of what other people are going to think, and you're afraid of like really like the power of within, like then you should definitely consider like at least getting on the epiphany call. But like I said, I've been telling people about you, and I'm like, listen, if you watch the video, don't call me. Don't like say, Jamila, what did you get me into? If you do the epiphany call, listen, it's all on you. Like you watch at your own risk, because Geeta may blow your mind. That's all I'm saying. So yeah.
Thank you. This has been so much fun. Tell us, so if you've been watching this video, and I would love to know, like just pop in the comments, what most resonated for you. Where do you feel like this really spoke to you? And if you're looking for a way to schedule a call with somebody on my team to help you get to the same epiphany, series of epiphanies, in fact, that Jamila had when she was trying to work her way to giving herself the permission to move forward into the greatness that she's already living 4 weeks in, then find a link around this video. There'll be a link around this video, and you can have a chance to have the same experience. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Geeta.
Thank you. This was so much fun.